Like I said, it's like all Florida schools have it. They get Florida kids. They have that dog mentality.
Right.
So I maybe they get it this year. I really haven't been paying too much attention to them as I have in previous years. But, if they can get the kids to, have that, I don't really want to say swagger, because swagger usually gets mixed up with Miami. So, I would just say that the Florida State, mindset, we are Florida State and da-da-da, everything they like to claim. If they can come out with a different mentality than they have, the past 2 years, even with Jimbo's last season, if they could just change that mindset, you may be looking at a 9-4 team, 10-3 team. You never really know until the games get played. But it's the same thing as as I was stating with Miami. Who on Florida State's schedule can match up talent-wise with Florida State besides Clemson? Obviously, that's a national championship contender. But outside of that, there really isn't anybody besides maybe a Syracuse, but I don't really think Syracuse has the talent and depth that Florida State does. So, there really shouldn't be a reason outside of maybe being out-coached or outplayed that Florida State goes out and loses. That it's all going to come down to who wants it more every Saturday. And that's where, Florida State, Florida, Miami, UCF, everybody that plays in the state, you're going to have to come out and prove who you are on Saturday. Like, nothing is going to be given, like, nobody's expecting, any team in the state of Florida right now to come out and be in Alabama or Clemson. Oh, we're going to come out and just dominate this game. Nobody's expecting that on any game this year. I've seen some guy predicted Florida State to go 6-6. That's horrible. But I've seen guys predicting Miami go 8-4. That's horrible. I don't think no fan in the state of Florida should be okay with a 9-win season. I just don't. That's not the football. If you grew up watching the powerhouses of your team, it shouldn't be acceptable. That's just, that's my way of how I think about it. So if you come out and say, oh, well, 8, I'll be cool, 8 wins, you need to go ahead and kick a bucket, because that's pathetic. Like, I just don't agree with it, man. Like, I would be furious. I was furious after the game last Saturday. And, I see people, they play good, they play great. We're not going to sleep on Miami no more. Why? They didn't, like, that was not championship football. That wasn't okay. I don't get me wrong, I seen the change from last year, but I don't want to just see it, they changed the culture. No, I want to see they changed wins and losses. I want to see a 13-0. I want to go into the ACC championship game undefeated. I want to be able to play Clemson, and win. I want to be able to see those days. And I'm pretty sure Florida State fans want to see that. I live in Gainesville, so I know for a fact Florida fans want to see Florida, Alabama, in the SEC title game back like the old 90 days with Spurrier,
Yeah, they have to beat Georgia. Florida's got to beat Georgia.
Exactly, and Miami's got to beat everybody on their schedule. Florida State's got to beat. It's just, unfortunately, the state of Florida football is not where it was in the 90s. It's not where it was in the early 2000s. And it can get back there. And a lot of people like to quickly blame the coach, but I think the 3 coaches that are at helm right now have that opportunity to bring the entire state back to where it used to be. And I only say that because if you watch Willie Taggart's track record, and I know he's the one that's kind of like everybody likes to point the finger at, is he doesn't fit. But if you watch Willie Taggart's tracking record, he improves. So it's not, you can't really say, he had a 5-7 season last year. He won't get Florida State maybe 3 years down the road up to a 12-0 season. It's hard to say that, because he literally, it's a process with him. So if Florida State fans can work with him and give him the opportunity, who knows what happens? You know, Dan Mullen, first season, 10-3. He beat Miami last weekend. Who's not? I'll be quick to tell you, I don't think they beat Georgia this year. Not from what I seen last week. And out they improved, that's different. Georgia's deep. That's the team Florida needs to beat in order to be like, okay, let's go face Alabama. If you can beat Georgia,
they have to beat LSU on the road this year too. And
they got Auburn.
And Auburn.
You know, Missouri looks good. I mean, Florida's got a rough schedule. If Florida can go 10-3 this year, they should be like, I ain't gonna say okay with it because, like I said, you should always improve. But if they can go 10-3 this year, that's impressive because that schedule is a gauntlet. Kentucky's not the Kentucky it was 10 years ago. Vanderbilt's, they're all right. Their coach is really, he's underrated. But Missouri's good. LSU, Auburn, Georgia, South Carolina's going to be a good game because, Muschamp's always going to want to beat Florida. They fired him, you know what I mean? So, and then you got Florida State. I don't think Florida State's going to be a 41-14 loss this year, but y'all got them at home this year. So, who's to say it won't be another? It may be worse, 55-14. It's hard to really say because we really don't know how this year's gonna play out. Florida might go get an injury down the line. I hope nobody gets injured, but they have one down the line. Who knows how that displays the rest of the season. So and like I said, if Miami can go 11-1 and go face Clemson, who knows what happens, and there's no reason Coach Diaz and the Hurricanes can't go 11-1, 10-2. Their schedule's set up perfectly for a first-year coach to have success and build off of that. But he has to be able to have his team with the, dogfight mentality every week. So, and then you're gonna have a lot of kids that are in state that are these 5-star, high 4-star kids. Why are we leaving the state? Our schools are competing now. You know what I mean? Yeah. We got good coaches, and that's been the problem and the downfall. Florida State's always done good in recruiting. I will give them that. That's one school that can go 5-7 and still be a top 15 team recruiting. I will give them that. But Willie Taggart can recruit his ass off. So I give him that credit. But Florida, Miami, we have to, pick up the pace to get back to that level and give these kids something to say, I want to go there now. They have a winning tradition. If you look at 2017 when Miami went 10-3, it was whoa, hold up. I'm not used to seeing Miami, up here in the ACC title game. I'm not used to seeing Miami in a New York 6 bowl game. So, a lot of kids, and you look at that all season, that recruiting class was good. You had Lorenzo Lingard, 5-star. You had Gilbert Frierson, who they beat Georgia out for, and they, right in their backyard. You had a lot of kids starting to believe, and then boom, you're going to have a 7-6 season. Kids are like, oh, no, right back to the old Miami. So it's one of those things, man, you have to give kids something to show for. Fortunately, most of these kids that are 16, 18 years old now, they've seen Florida State win the title. Florida was 11 years ago was their last title. Most of these kids were, teeny boppers. They weren't even old enough to go out and see a movie on their own. Most of them were kids. So, and then for Florida or for Miami, most kids weren't even born. So these kids haven't seen the state be great. Most of them have only seen, Florida State have good seasons. Oh, well, Florida had, they had positive seasons, but, it's been 11 years. So, they have to get back to that. Well, I'm going to prove these kids, what what the University of Miami used to be or what the University of Florida used to be. And even the same right now, Florida State, it's been 6 years. So, they're on the outs. A lot of these kids are like, Alabama, Clemson, Georgia, Ohio State, and Florida's losing 5-star kids to these out-of-state programs, which I don't believe should happen. Most of these kids should be, I want to stay in state, And you will have most of these kids that grow up a Clemson fan or they grew up an Alabama fan because that's who they seen winning. Or because there's so much talent in the state of Florida that their cousins or their older brother or, somebody of their family or, their best friends are now playing for, I want to go play for their, the team they played for. So you're going to lose. It don't matter. And I tell Miami fans this all the time. Miami can go 15-0, win the ACC title game, and win the national title. Kids are still going to leave the state. That just happens. It don't matter if Miami throws the entire house at a kid. If he wants to go out of state, he's going to go out of state.
Right.
Sometimes it doesn't fit. So, there ain't no point in getting mad at a kid because he's going to play for Ohio State or he's going to even play for a Penn State or Michigan, who have been under Ohio State this whole time. That's just it's going to happen. That's just how things go. But you have to stop recruiting out kids from out of state over your in-state kids, because when you get burned by the out-of-state kid and you come back to recruit this kid from your backyard, he's going to feel like you burned him for a kid out of state.
Yeah, true.
And you burn, and some of these kids you burn a bridge. Some kids you might get a Trajan Bandy. Didn't recruit him until the later end, and he just had a lot of love for the University of Miami and want to stay home. So of course he committed. But, you're going to have kids that just, they want to leave. So, you have to take the good with the bad. And unfortunately, the state of Florida has some of the most passionate fans, and they don't take the disrespect lightly, But, I mean, you still shouldn't have to bash a kid or attack a kid because he makes his own decision. That's his decision at the end of the day, So hopefully the state of Florida picks back up, man, because I miss the old days where you seen a Florida State-Miami game come down to the wire, and that's the deciding game is who goes to the national title, or, Florida State and Miami. Florida and Miami, their games decide how the rest of the year is going to go. Does either team stay in the top 10 after being a top 10 team? I miss them old days. So hopefully we see a change soon.
I mean, I honestly hope so too. I mean, I would like to, of course, see USF and UCF be thrown into the mix as well, moving forward and making it a 5-team race. I mean, I know right here, right now, there's no way that USF and UCF will catch up to the recruiting as well as the Power 3 from, Florida State, and Miami. There's no way that that's going to happen anytime soon, and maybe
right.
Never will. But it would be kind of cool to know if a team from out of state comes down here, and they want to go through the ring, the gauntlet. If they have to go, say they schedule all 5 of us on the schedule, that would be kind of cool to have a Power 5 team, But until UCF and USF get out of the AAC, it's not going to happen that way. And USF, they've scheduled Alabama, they've scheduled Florida. Florida will be here next year at Raymond James Stadium. They've played Florida State in the past. They've played Miami in the past. They've got Texas coming down here. So they have Wisconsin, which I'll be there tomorrow night to play. That running attack.
That's my upset pick of the week, by the way.
Thank you. I hope they win. I'll be there, man. I sure the heck hope they win. They got to slow down. They got to slow down Taylor. That's the key right there. They can slow him down.
That dude is a monster, no lie.
Yeah, we have a shot.
There's always usually an upset Obviously Cincinnati's losing by 10 right now to UCLA, but I think they're both horrible. Like Cincinnati's obviously good for a group of 5, but